Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show. I really enjoyed having that conversation, the weekly conversation for the past over 3 years with Jeff Duncan. And we're so fortunate to have the leading columnist for the Saints and sports in Louisiana join us every single Friday here on this show. We used to work together when I was over at NOLA Media Group and had responsibilities for the Times-Picayune, NOLA.com, and some other stuff. And we developed a great relationship. So it's been wonderful to be able to stay in touch with Jeff long after I've retired. So it's terrific to have the opportunity to spend time with him. And, of course, he's written 2 definitive books about the Saints, the book on Sean Payton and Drew Brees, and then more recently, as he mentioned, literally working toward the final deadline of his book about life with Steve Gleason. And, man, what a journey it's been to have the opportunity on a weekly basis to talk about the process of writing that book. And now here's Steve Gleason getting picked up by Arthur Blank's jet and flown to the game with the Saints in Atlanta and being honored at the Atlanta game. And Steve wondering, is he going to be booed because of the famous block kick after the Saints reopened the Superdome and all that? What a wonderful moment that's going to be, and we'll all be able to see that on TV. So now let's move over to my friend Kenny Vest, the general manager of multiple stations just for SuperTalk Mississippi Media Gulf Coast here on the coast, and a good friend, and we'll be asking Kyle to join us here shortly. But how you doing, Kenny?
Ricky, I'm doing great. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much. Same to you, my friend. Same to you. Listen, first, a big kudos to Kyle and Cammie and the team for their support of me. As you know, early on, I thought about doing this. I gave it a test. There was a point where I almost said, nah, I'm not going to do this because it's a little bit too much like work. But, man, I got with Cammie Martin supporting me, the team at SuperTalk and Jackson, your team, and then Kyle, who you can literally set your clock to Kyle. It's been a great journey.
Actually.
Do I now?
I do set my clock to Kyle.
I bet you do, because as I say every week, he is a jack of all trades, but it's been terrific. It really has been. So how are you doing? How are the stations doing?
We're good. Everybody's doing good. A lot of activity. This time of the year, there's so much stuff happening on all of our stations, on SuperTalk, on CPR, Monkey, G, Bob. Gearing up for the end of the year and wrapping up 23 and excited for a big 24.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, Kyle, why don't you window yourself into the conversation for a second, and I'll get Kyle to join us. Kyle and I we had an opportunity to visit with Matt McDonald. We love checking in with Matt every few weeks. The Coliseum, the Mississippi Gulf Coast Coliseum and Convention Center, Matt and his incredible team that I've had the opportunity to observe in action personally. And then, of course, the Board of Commissioners there, the Board of Supervisors, everyone supports their efforts. They're an economic engine for this state. But during COVID, they made significant investments in the infrastructure of the Coliseum that gave them the opportunity to be able to attract the biggest acts on the road today. And look, from where you're sitting, you have seen it all through CPR Fest, through over 20 years of working with Matt in the Coliseum. You've seen it all. How does what the activity you're seeing now at the Coliseum sort of rate with what you've seen in the past?
Well, I've been here for 28 years. I've been working with Matt since 95. We have a very close relationship personally and business-wise. I have to say this is the busiest I think it's ever been in the region. So many shows coming in. I mean, I can rattle them off to you. It's one after the other. It's Hardy on December 9th. That's sold out. You've got Tool January 27th. Huge numbers. On the on-sale day. That should sell out. Journey, February 9th, another huge show at the Coliseum. And then we're doing CPR is presenting Disturbed, February 24th. And they're all doing big numbers. So we're excited about that. And there's, Skinnerd and ZZ Top in April and Tim McGraw June 13th. And that's just at the Coliseum. And then in the region, Judas Priest is coming, which, they're big ticket sellers. So you got Over in the Wharf that, we promote with John Ruffino and those guys at Red Mountain Live Nation. It's Stained and Seether. It's the busiest time. You got Drake in New Orleans and it's great for our group of radio stations to promote all of these shows.
And what's interesting is that the Coliseum, for a long period of time, was losing out to Mobile, losing out to the Wharf, losing out to New Orleans and other markets. But now, they're losing to us. these acts are coming to us, and it's great to see. Kyle, when you heard Matt talking about how this market was outperforming some of the most significant markets in America because of its relationship with CPR, you weren't surprised, were you?
No, not at all. I always thought that we could outperform some of these other markets, and it hadn't always shown it, but I think we're finally meeting the potentiality of it. I think radio station wise, we've talked about this for years in the building, that we could match our stations up against any larger market station and just hands down win that battle. So it's not surprising for me to see that the Coliseum and the shows and the amount of talent coming through here is finally starting to just really flourish.
I mean, Kenny, look at WCPR and the story of WCPR, the way you guys select the music. You're great at knowing what acts fit sort of the format of CPR. You're great about finding new acts. So many great stories as it relates to that. And now you've done it over so many years. You're now talking to new generations. You've still got the generations that you originally started with. Now you got new generations that are coming along. And to me, it makes a fundamental statement about the strength of radio. And what's interesting to me as a former, media executive, and in this day and time, that that radio would have better measurement capabilities. The fact that radio still uses diaries is amazing to me. I mean, I just can't imagine how out of date that process is.
The methodology is very primitive.
So you have to come to things, for advertisers and others, you have to come to success stories like this, where you're directly promoting a specific act, and you're able to compare how those acts performed in comparison with other markets, venues, and their local radio stations, and you see how well connected CPR is to this market, and how listen, the success story goes over and over and over again. You're able to speak to people who like that genre. You're looking at you have one of the most coveted demographics that you lead in the market. That's very compelling.
Yeah, it's unique. We don't want to beat our chest too much on CPR, but it's a unique station. It's a generational station. A guy that was 20 years old in 1995, he's now 48, and he's got kids, and we get it all the time that, from live broadcasts, they come out, listen, my son, he grew up listening as I did. And so it's a great story, and we're lucky to be part of it. But CPR helps get a lot of these rock shows. Promoters will usually come to me and ask, what I think of this show. Will it do good or will it do bad? And then, we go from there, and then Matt gets involved in the deals, and we've got some great stuff coming, and they're all doing well.
Yeah, that is so cool. That is so cool. You and Kyle and a team of others have been sort of on this case from the very beginning. Kyle, when you see Kenny being humble about it, you're not surprised by that either, are you?
No, because it's just not him. I think it's everybody. Kenny's never been really out there with bragging anyway, but nobody in the building, there's not anybody in the building that does that. Mm-hmm. And there hasn't really been,
that's a good
a few people here and there, but that's been over a span of 28 years. But,
add Scott Fox to that humble mix.
Yeah, he doesn't brag much. You know what I like we're doing, Ricky, as a company with SuperTalk, Robert Bird, who's our VP of radio sales, he had an idea to tie in the network, the SuperTalk network, which, as you know, it's a major player in the state, and everybody listens to it all over the place. To start incorporating some contesting with some of these concerts, why not? It's nice to take a break from news and do some fun stuff, and those things have been going exceptionally well. We did a Morgan Wallen VIP package for the Morgan Wallen show that he didn't end up playing and at Ole Miss, but a winner got to get in our suite that we have in Vaught-Hemingway Stadium. And then after that, we did a Guns N' Roses promotion on the network where 4 winners came down. We partnered with the Beau Rivage. They get tickets to the show. And that's been incorporated across the state. And we're doing one for Hardy, too. I've got a couple of Hardy autographed guitars here that the winners are getting. And it's all on the network. It's all on the SuperTalk network. And the response has been gigantic. So it's a win-win for everybody. Sometimes you forget if you're left or right. Music connects people. The country's so divided, but everybody loves music, and it's great to do this on the network.
And Hardy and Lainey Wilson are absolutely peaking in this moment.
Oh, absolutely.
It's incredible. What a great story. Hey, when we come back on the other side, we'll continue our conversation with Kenny Vest and my friend, the producer of this show, Kyle Curley. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show. I have my friend Kenny Vest. He's the general manager of SuperTalk Mississippi Media here on the Gulf Coast, and of course the producer of this show, Kyle Curley. And we were just chatting about a conversation that Matt McDonald and I had, and Kyle as well, about the success of the partnerships between the Coast Coliseum and especially WCPR, but not limited to WCPR. We were talking about the SuperTalk network just a minute ago. This is a very, very unique company. People have heard me talk about this before, but if you don't know, it's 26 total radio stations, but there are 12 that are part of what is called the SuperTalk network. And the owner of this company, Steve Davenport, had this really unique vision to buy radio stations that are in strategic locations throughout the state so they could literally connect the state and talk about state issues. And then he could develop this incredible news effort led by a guy by the name of JT Mitchell, who's been on the show before. That effort, incidentally, not only goes to the 26 radio stations that are part of SuperTalk Mississippi Media, but also goes to another 25 radio stations that are not part of SuperTalk Mississippi Media. So 51 radio stations get the news that's provided by the SuperTalk Mississippi News effort. That's actually important because when we talk about an issue here on this show that is of news, that has a news element to it, JT picks that up, and it not only plays on the SuperTalk Mississippi Media radio stations, but it goes way beyond that to all these other radio stations. So it's a heck of an effort. You can download the SuperTalk app. You can go to supertalk.fm to listen to the shows. You can get the news there. It's just a great vision. And so when you talk about, for example, the commercials that people are hearing on SuperTalk now that are around the collaboration with the Beau Rivage and the Coliseum and the SuperTalk for the Hardy Lainey Wilson concert, people love those kind of contests, don't they, Kenny?
They really do. We didn't know what the response would be statewide. First was Morgan Wallen. He's one of the biggest country performers in the country right now. Huge response, and so we got to keep doing this. And again, like I said earlier, we did Guns N' Roses, or we did Hardy. In the middle of doing Hardy, we pick our winner next week, and we're going to keep doing it. Shows that are coming down to the Coliseum, we bring in some winners. They stay at the Beau Rivage. We give them a limo. They go to the show, and it's a fun promotion for a news network. And,
yeah. And look, you have a history. You have a history of getting your timing right. We talked previously about Jelly Roll. I mean, you had Jelly Roll here at a time when he was literally just taking off. It's incredible, the timing of that. Here you have Hardy. And Lainey Wilson as well, I might add. I can't leave her out, but Hardy in particular, this kid that's from Philadelphia, Mississippi. He went to school in Philadelphia, Neshoba County High School, and then he went to, I think, West Tennessee University, where he got a degree in songwriting. Went to Nashville at a really young age and started writing songs for some of the best music artists there are: Florida Georgia Line, Morgan Wallen. I mean, and a long list of others. He's also collaborated with them and toured with them, and eventually they said, why are you writing songs for other people? You need to write your own songs. But then on top of that, there's this rock element to it that it shouldn't work, but it does.
You're right. It really shouldn't work. Most times you try to cross over a country act to rock, it's almost novelty. He's got 2 top 5. I think one of them went to #1. Solid rock songs that the rock audience has accepted, and they like it. And so, yeah, it's unique. Same with Jelly Roll. I mean, he's got 2 monster rock songs. And he has his country thing. I mean, he's just exploded. By the way, Matt brought him in first. Jelly Roll back at was it Crawfish Vest, Kyle? He was the first to bring him in the market, and then he played our birthday party with Shinedown a couple years ago. We hope to have him back. But yeah, those are two unique stories because they're country artists and they cross over to rock, and it's been hugely successful on the rock side too.
Yeah, that's so cool. And then, of course, Lainey Wilson has done her duet with Jelly Roll, and I think she's done a duet with Hardy, and
right.
She's managed her career really well. In fact, I started following her on social media, and what I have learned is that when you write your songs and you inspire your brand and you can connect with your audience in this world that's very controlled by social media and the fact that if you're going to make money, you better write your own songs. Lainey Wilson has really defined that, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has. She's literally blown up in the last year.
Yeah,
that's a big show. That Hardy show is a big show. It's why it's sold out.
That's it for that is for sure.
Some mic cables and see if I can't walk in the back door on that one.
yeah, no doubt. So how's the morning show going, Kenny?
Man, the morning show's going again. I'm blowing smoke for ourselves, but it's going great. Very happy with it. Very pleased with it. Ratings are good. Engagement is good. Callers are nonstop. Appearances all along the coast. People come out and they know each person's personality, and it's we've got this connection and we've got this engagement, and they're in a rhythm. It's very pleased with the morning show on CPR.
Of course, Super Talk had a live remote, and then of course the CPR team had a live remote right after us, and at Town Green during Cruising the Coast, and I got to see they were each like celebrities for the people that came by to visit with them. That was pretty neat to see. Anyway,
Kenny, a lot of fun.
It's been a pleasure to catch up with you, my friend.
Yeah, it sure has. I appreciate it. Hope to do it again soon.
You bet. And Kyle, thank you, my friend.
You bet.
Y'all have a great weekend, and we'll see you Monday morning.
You too.